There are burdens you carry that no one sees. Weights so heavy on your chest that some nights you wonder how you're still breathing. Pains so deep that you've learned to smile through them because explaining would be too hard, too long, too raw. You wake up every morning and you keep going, not because you're strong, but because you have no other choice. And the hardest part? No one knows. No one really knows what it costs you to make it through each day. Maybe it's a grief that won't leave. Maybe it's a betrayal that cuts so deep the wound never really closed. Maybe it's guilt over something you did or didn't do, and it plays in your mind like a song that never ends. Maybe it's loneliness, even when you're surrounded by people. Maybe it's fear about tomorrow, about your health, about someone you love, about whether you'll have enough strength to face what's coming. Maybe it's shame about who you were, what happened to you, or what you've become. Whatever it is, you've carried it in silence. You've hidden it behind "I'm fine" and "I'm okay," because the truth feels too heavy to put into words. You've cried alone where no one could see. You've prayed in whispers, wondering if anyone is even listening. You've felt invisible, like your pain doesn't matter because no one asks and no one notices. But here's what I need you to hear today, and I mean this with everything in me. God sees you. He sees the weight. He knows the pain you've never spoken out loud. He knows the tears you've cried in secret. He knows the nights you couldn't sleep and the mornings you didn't want to wake up. He knows the burden you carry that you've never told another soul about. You don't have to explain it to him. You don't have to find the right words. You don't have to make it sound less painful than it really is. He already knows. He's been there every single moment, carrying you even when you thought you were walking alone. When you felt like no one understood, he understood. When you felt abandoned by the world, he never left your side. The Bible tells us that he keeps our tears in a bottle. Think about that. Every tear you've cried in private, every moment of pain you've endured in silence, he has collected them. He hasn't missed a single one. Not one moment of your suffering has gone unseen by him. Your pain matters to him. Your struggle matters to him. You matter to him. I know it's hard to believe sometimes. When you're in the middle of the storm and the weight feels unbearable, it's easy to think that maybe God has forgotten about you. Maybe he's too busy with bigger problems. Maybe your pain is too small, too personal, too shameful to bring to him. But that's a lie the enemy wants you to believe. That's the voice that keeps you trapped in silence. God is not distant. He's not too busy. Your pain is not too small for him. In fact, he invites you to come to him with it. He says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Not some of you. Not the ones who have it all together. All of you. Especially you who are tired, who are carrying more than anyone knows. And if this message is reaching something deep inside you right now, if you're feeling seen for the first time in a long time, I want to invite you to subscribe and leave a like on this video. Not for me, but so that others who are carrying silent burdens can find these words too. Because you're not alone in this, and there are so many people who need to hear what you're hearing right now. You don't have to carry this weight alone anymore. You were never meant to. God knows. And he's waiting for you to let him help you carry it. That's what the next part of this journey is about. Stay with me. Now I want to talk to you about something that might be hard to accept at first, but I promise you, it will bring you peace if you let it settle in your heart. The weight you're carrying, the burden no one else knows about, it hasn't escaped God's purpose. Nothing in your life is wasted in his hands. Not even the pain. Not even the silence. Not even the darkest moments when you felt completely alone. You might be thinking, but why? Why would God let me carry this? Why wouldn't he just take it away if he loves me? And those are honest questions. Questions you have every right to ask. But here's what I've learned, and what I believe God wants you to understand today. Sometimes the weight you carry is preparing you for something you can't see yet. Sometimes the silence you've endured is teaching you to hear his voice in ways you never could before. There's a reason you've been able to survive what you've been through. There's a reason you're still here, still breathing, still holding on even when it felt impossible. It's because God has been your strength when you had none of your own. Every morning you got up when you wanted to stay in bed, that was Him lifting you. Every time you chose to keep going when giving up seemed easier, that was His grace carrying you through. The burden you carry has shaped you in ways you don't even realize yet. It's made you more compassionate. It's made you more understanding of other people's pain. It's taught you that life is fragile and precious. It's shown you that strength doesn't mean never struggling, it means getting back up even when you've been knocked down over and over again. The weight has broken you open, yes, but it's also made room for God to fill you with something deeper than you had before. I know that doesn't make the pain go away. I know it doesn't answer every question or heal every wound. But I need you to know that your suffering has not been meaningless. God has been writing a story through your life that only you can tell. The very thing that almost destroyed you is becoming the thing that will help you understand others, love deeper, and trust God in ways that people who've never walked through darkness can't understand. And here's something beautiful about silence. When you carry pain that you can't speak about, when words fail you and explanations don't come, that's when God speaks loudest to your heart. In the quiet, in the secret place where no one else can reach, that's where He meets you. That's where He whispers truths that your soul needs to hear. That's where healing begins, not with answers, but with His presence. You've been in a season of silence, but silence doesn't mean absence. Just because you haven't told anyone doesn't mean God hasn't been working. Just because no one has noticed doesn't mean nothing is happening. Some of God's greatest work happens in the hidden places, in the private moments, in the struggles no one applauds. He's been building something in you that the world can't see yet, but it's there. It's real. And when the time is right, it will come to light. Maybe you've been wondering when this season will end. When the weight will finally lift. When you'll feel like yourself again. And I can't give you a date or a timeline, but I can tell you this. God's timing is not our timing, but His timing is always perfect. What feels like delay to you is actually preparation. What feels like silence from heaven is actually God working behind the scenes in ways you can't imagine. He hasn't forgotten about you. He hasn't left you to carry this alone forever. He's walking with you every single step, even when you can't feel Him. Especially when you can't feel Him. Your faith isn't measured by how much you feel, it's measured by how you keep trusting even when you feel nothing at all. And you've been doing that. You've been trusting even in the darkness. That's real faith. That's the kind of faith that moves the heart of God. So if you're watching this and you're realizing that maybe your silence has had a purpose, maybe your pain hasn't been wasted, I want you to take a moment and just breathe. Let that truth settle in. And if this is speaking to you, if you feel hope rising in your chest for the first time in a while, leave a like and subscribe so we can walk this journey together. Because you're not alone, and your story isn't over. Now we come to the most important part, and I need you to really hear me on this. You've carried this weight for so long. You've held it in silence, thinking that was what you had to do. Maybe you thought you were protecting others. Maybe you thought admitting the pain would make you weak. Maybe you just didn't know how to let it out. But today, right now, I want to tell you something that could change everything for you. You can release it. You don't have to hold on anymore. God is not asking you to be strong enough to carry this forever. He's asking you to be brave enough to give it to Him. And I know that sounds simple, maybe too simple, but that's exactly what makes it so hard. We've been trained to handle things ourselves, to push through, to not burden others. But God is not like other people. He's not going to be overwhelmed by your pain. He's not going to turn away from your mess. He's not going to think less of you for struggling. In fact, He's been waiting for this moment. The moment when you finally say, I can't do this anymore. I need you. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's surrender. And surrender is where freedom begins. Think about it. How much energy have you spent trying to keep it together? How many nights have you laid awake replaying everything in your mind? How much of your life have you lived in survival mode, just trying to make it through one more day? That's exhausting. And God never intended for you to live that way. He says, "Cast all your anxiety on me because I care for you." All of it. Not just the acceptable parts. Not just the things that sound good in prayer. All of it. Every ugly, broken, painful piece. And when you do that, when you finally release the weight you've been carrying in secret, something miraculous happens. You don't just feel lighter. You start to see differently. You start to notice that God has been working all along. You start to recognize His hand in places you thought He was absent. You start to understand that the weight you carried was never meant to crush you, it was meant to bring you closer to Him. Some of you right now are thinking, "But I've prayed about this. I've asked God to take it away. Nothing changed." And I hear you. I understand that frustration. But sometimes God doesn't remove the burden because He's using it to remove something else. Something deeper. Pride. Self-reliance. Fear. The need to control everything. Sometimes the weight stays for a season because God is doing surgery on your soul, and healing takes time. But here's the promise, and you need to hold onto this with everything in you. God will not waste your pain. He will not leave you in this place forever. There is a day coming when you will look back on this season and you will see it differently. You'll see how it changed you, how it prepared you, how it brought you to a place of faith you never would have reached without it. And you'll be grateful, not for the pain itself, but for what God did in you through the pain. Right now, you might not be able to imagine that day. But it's coming. And until it comes, God is with you. Every single moment. In the waiting. In the wondering. In the wait. He has not abandoned you. He will not abandon you. His promise is clear. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Never means never. Not when it's hard. Not when you can't feel Him. Not when you think you've messed up too much or wandered too far. Never. So what do you do now? How do you move forward from here? You take it one day at a time. One prayer at a time. One breath at a time. You stop trying to carry it all alone. You start talking to God like He's right there with you, because He is. You tell Him the truth about how you feel. You let the tears come. You ask for help. And you trust that even when you can't see what He's doing something. And you start letting people in. Not everyone, but someone. Someone safe. Someone who will listen without judging. Someone who will pray with you. Because God often sends His comfort through other people. You were never meant to walk this road completely alone. Isolation is a trap. Connection is healing. If you've made it to the end of this message, I believe it's not by accident. I believe God led you here because He wanted you to know that He sees you. He knows the weight. And He's offering you something better than just getting through it. He's offering you peace in the middle of it. He's offering you His presence. He's offering you hope. Before you go, I want to ask you to do something. Subscribe to this channel and hit that like button, not for me, but because I believe there are others carrying silent burdens who need to hear this too. Your click could be the reason someone else finds hope today. That's how God works. He uses our stories, even the painful ones, to reach others. And I want you to know this, the weight you've been carrying doesn't define you. What defines you is that you're still here. You're still fighting. You're still believing, even if it's just barely. That's enough. God takes our barely and He turns it into beauty. He takes our broken and He makes it whole. He takes our silence and He fills it with His voice. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. You are deeply, completely, eternally loved by a God who knows every single thing you've been through and loves you anyway. Not in spite of your pain, but through it. With it. Beyond it. And He's not done with you yet. Your story is still being written. And the best chapters, the ones where you look back and see His faithfulness in every line, those chapters are still ahead. So hold on. Keep going. Keep trusting. The weight you carry, God knows it. And He's strong enough to carry both you and it. Let Him.